Okay, everyone, welcome to episode 3. We are 3 episodes into the event industry, and honestly, I feel like each and every episode just gets so nerve-wracking every single time I do it, but I know that we just gotta keep rolling through them, just keep doing them, everything's gonna be okay. So this episode is actually about just being uncomfortable in things, but then just doing them. And I know that that sounds hard to a lot of people, but it's super important to honestly just do the things, because then you can't, grow essentially. So if there are things like within your business, within your industry, whatever it may be, honestly, just do it. And then it's one of those things like you can come back and say I got through that, or I did it. And I want to just chat quickly on doing this right now is super uncomfortable for me, but it's one of those things that you just have to get past. And you can't get past it unless you keep doing it, So I always throw things into analogies of sports, I feel like. But it's just the practice and the repetition and the everything with sports, then the better that you're obviously going to get. And that obviously translates into everything with life. When I had first started off my podcast, I hated hearing the sound of my voice. I just cringed the whole entire time. Now 165 episodes in, here we are, So I feel like that's going to be the same thing for this YouTube channel. I hope that, everyone is kind of getting their own value out of it. It's a little bit of a motivational kick for you guys. Good, I'm glad that's what I meant for it to do. But yeah, like I said, honestly, YouTube has not been the easiest for me. I kind of put it off on the back burner, and I don't really want to, record videos just because I'm oh, I hate it. I don't, but it's one of those things, you can't do one thing and say, oh, okay, I tried it, I'm done. You have to at least give it a chance. So whether that's 6 months, a year, year and a half, 2 years, whatever that sounds like for you, just give it your all. Because I feel like too comes the opposite ends of it, of people saying oh, well, I tried it, and then we'll ask okay, well, how long did you try for? How long did you put forth your effort to that thing? It's oh, well, I only tried it for 2 months. It's okay, well, that's not long enough for you to really say, that you kind of tried something. So I challenge you to work towards something that really makes you uncomfortable, towards something that is going to push you to that next level. I challenge you to be uncomfortable. And if you're in your head thinking oh, this is not for me, I feel really weird, I can't sleep at night, all these different things, then something's working. Something's working its magic, and you just have to it's you're on a roller coaster with no seat belts, no bar or anything on you, and you just hold on for dear life, and you're all right, let's see where this ride takes me. So it's one of those things you just kind of gotta endure through. You can do hard things. I know you can. Because honestly, at the end of it, what could come of it, What could happen if you stuck with your podcast, with your YouTube channel, with your TikToks, with really anything that you're doing, you know. You can't say like, oh, well, I'm just trying it or I'm just doing it. It's like, okay, well, now are you doing enough of it? What does your content look like? What does the quality of your work look like off of the end for, say, your business or your life or literally whatever you're doing? You know, did you go and apply for that, you know, new program at work or that degree, that master's degree? Did you have a good enough resume? You know, and if the answer is no off of that end, it's taking the time to now figure out how to better yourself. You know, okay, well, maybe my resume wasn't the best for that job. What do I need to do to kind of get yourself ready for that, you know? A lot of those times those employers are looking at your resume first and foremost. So it's like, okay, well, how can I get my resume looking better? Do I need to go work at another company for a few years and then go back to that company and say, hey, you know, I put a couple years in at this other company, learned a lot of experience over the time. You know, can we chat again? But it's actually going back to that company after they had said no to you originally and seeing if they'll say yes again, you know? So it's a matter now then of perseverance. And I actually just had this happen to me yesterday, and I sent an email about maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Originally, like 2 years ago, I had just started my business, as many of you know. Just got out of college, had zero event experience. Went and chatted with this venue, and they were actually at the time looking for a contract planner to come in for the day of, just because, you know, event days are insane and having a ton of them back to back to back is brutal sometimes. And so they were looking for someone to kind of just contract in and help out with some of their events. And they had sent me an email. I met with them, like, they were super cool. We really connected. Then they emailed me and they're like, hey, thanks so much for meeting with us. We're gonna go like in a different direction or something, which, you know, at first made me sad, and I was like, okay, that's okay. Then fast forward 2 years later, actually sat down and chatted with one of my photographer friends who is on their list, preferred vendor list at the venue, and he actually was the one that was kind of in the same boat as me. You know, he, at first, the venue was like, okay, well, like, we want to see more, you know, content behind your brand. He came back a couple years later, contacted them back in, and was like, hey, you know, would love to be on your list. Like, how can we work this out? And it had actually lined up perfectly. So they had a drop from the type of photographer that he is. They pushed him in, and then now he's in there a lot, which is amazing. And so I actually just got a call from the venue yesterday, and they wanted to chat, you know, on doing something contracted. So it's one of those things, you know, now that I have the reps behind me, I have the weddings behind me, you know, you build your social media account to really showcase what you can do, you know, have people vouch for you, whatever it may be. That was really uncomfortable, you know, sending that email, because then that's like, okay, well, is it going to be like a second no? And then that really leads us to the next point of like being uncomfortable with hearing no. You hear it a lot, honestly. And it takes, and I always tell you guys this, but like it literally takes someone with like 20 layers of skin to like hear all that, you know, and like tunnel vision yourself so hard that you're not like caring if someone says no. It's like, okay, yeah, they said no to me, but somewhere out there, there's a yes. Somewhere out there, someone's going to say, yes, absolutely, we'd love to work with you. So don't get too caught up on those no's, because you have so many other things to worry about, so many other things to get yourself prepared for. The more time that you sit and focus in on, oh, well, this person says no to me, woe is me. Like, what are you doing? Just keep focusing on your main goal. Continue to work on yourself. Because when you work on yourself, work towards your goals, don't focus on, the no's or the negatives or whatever it may be at this point. Who knows what's gonna, come about for you, and just continue to push it. You can't sit in a corner and cry. Of course it is okay to cry. I'll definitely not lie off of that end. A lot of tears probably were shed, up to this point for me especially, and I know a lot of people getting to where they're at, but then they kind of hit that point where like, why am I crying right now? Like, let me just stop, think about it, think how we can reevaluate or reassess whatever it is, and okay, like on to the next, so it's just time to make some moves, people. But at the end of the day, be uncomfortable with hearing no, be uncomfortable with hearing no. That didn't come out right. Be okay with being uncomfortable, and then with hearing no. At the end of the day, everything all works out, or it doesn't, and things are meant to be how they be. I don't know if that makes sense either. Thank you guys for watching today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. Or if there's honestly any other topics that you would like to hear, I'm here for you guys. I'm thinking about actually doing a balloon garland one shortly, so then we can show you guys how to make a fun balloon garland. But yeah, I'm always open for topics of discussion. I'm here for you guys. This is your YouTube channel. However I can bring you all more value, I am more than happy to help. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I'm trying to think what else social we have. Oh, and listen to the podcast, you guys. We have lots of fun vendors on there. Even sprinkled in some people with the golf industry. Yeah. Bye, guys. Thank you.